your one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal. Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me. That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. A very good morning, welcome to FA Cup Live for our third game of our third round live coverage here on LFS this Sunday morning as we get another cracker day of FA Cup action underway, and we watch Championship side Derby County take on the Premier League's Leeds United, and these two have recent history in trying to get to the Premier League, if you remember, a number of years ago, but it's all about progressing to the fourth round of the FA Cup today. Also this afternoon, Portsmouth take on Arsenal at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Strange that that's a different time than the rest. Then they're all 2:30 kickoffs, 2:30 kickoffs. Hull take on Blackburn, Walsall head to Norwich, Sheffield United face Mansfield, it's Swansea against West Brom, and then a London derby at the London Stadium as West Ham take on QPR. West Ham really need something positive around their football club at the minute. And then the round off the Sunday action, Man United take on Brighton in an all-Premier League tie at 4:30. We're back after this game on Monday night as Liverpool take on Barnsley. That's tomorrow at 7:45, and we'll have the fourth round draw before kickoff between Liverpool and Barnsley tomorrow. Of course, 32 teams, 16 ties. Looking forward to that draw to see who Macclesfield might get after their incredible knocking out of the FA Cup holders, Crystal Palace. Yesterday, of course, you'd have to be living under a rock to not hear about that result yesterday in the FA Cup. And that is what this competition is all about. And this afternoon, Leeds United will be hoping they're not the next team in the Premier League to be knocked out by a lower league opponent. Derby make it tough for them. They can make it tough, and a Derby team that really are bubbling along well in the Championship at the minute. Mid-table in the Championship, 13th in the second division of English football, and only 6 points off the playoffs, so they're pushing well under John Eustace. But Leeds are doing well themselves as of recent. They've gone on an unbeaten run of Leeds United up until that defeat away at Newcastle. They were unbeaten in 7. 1 defeat in 8 is certainly very a stark contrast to a 4-game losing streak before that run, so certainly an uptick in form at Elland Road. And for Daniel Farke, who more or less saved his job in this recent run, there were question marks over whether he was the right man to keep Leeds in the Premier League, and they're now looking a little bit safer than they were before, a good 8 points clear of the relegation zone. The two teams that come into this one with a renewed vein of confidence and hoping, well, Derby certainly hoping they can pull off the upset. Leeds are hoping they can just get the job done and get their name in the hat for round 4. Leeds certainly having had great cup runs over the last number of years. They've been knocked out early in the cups in the last number of years. They just need to do their job today to get this one done and dusted. Let's have a look at the two teams then. Before the teams come out of the tunnel, they're taking their time. A 12 o'clock kickoff, of course, in this one. A little earlier than usual, but that's what makes the FA Cup interesting, that it's just different. Anthony Taylor's our referee this afternoon. Of course, no VAR in the third or fourth round of the FA Cup, which is a bit refreshing, to be honest, that we don't have to worry about VAR too much. Let's have a look at the teams then, and starting with the home team. They've gone for a 4-4-1-1 and a couple of changes for John Eustace. Says that he wants players to have an opportunity to impress. Well, Zetterstrom starts in goal, a back four of Joe Ward, Sondre Langas, great name, Danny Bath and Craig Forsyth. In midfield, captain Lewis Travis is alongside Oscar, who only signed for the club a number of days ago. Corey Blacklet Taylor, and on the other side, Ben Burton Diaz, who we know very well. Bobby Clark starts further forward with the centre forward Lars Jørgen Salveston starts up front. On the bench for the home team, O'Donnell, Nelson, Elder, Wyman, Ozo, Eames, Adams, Adjumang and Ryan Brewster. For Leeds United, a change of formation and quite a number of changes for Daniel Farker. He wasn't given much away in his pre-match interview, but it's definitely a back three for Leeds, you would suspect. Carl Darlow starts in goal in place of Lucas Perry, who's been the Leeds starting goalkeeper all season. A back three / back five with Willie Nonto and Jack Harrison as wing backs, with a back three of Bornau, Ethan Ampadu the captain and Jakob Bijol. In midfield, Ilya Gruyev alongside Ayo Tanaka, who comes back into the side after back-to-back bench appearances, and Joel Piru in the 10, with two strikers in Noah Okafor and Lucas Mecha. On the bench for Leeds, if they need some help, they've got some strength and depth off the bench. Lucas Perry's on the bench, as well as Justin, Stroik, Byram, Longstaff, Stack, Chambers, Brendan Aronson and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. They need that star striker. He's warming himself on this bench there, and he's had a good run of form, Calvert-Lewin, over the last few weeks for Leeds. Maybe a real catalyst to the turnaround in form in Leeds' season. He's on the bench this afternoon. Surplus to requirements is what I'm sure Daniel Farker will be hoping that he is today, and his players on the field can get the job done. He says he trusts them. Well, let's see what they can produce. It's Championship Derby County against Premier League Leeds United. And as I said before, these two have quite a bizarre history. We'll talk about it as the game goes on. Kickoff at Pride Park is next. A very good afternoon now. It's just hit 12 o'clock and a very good afternoon and welcome to FA Cup Live here on LFS this Sunday lunchtime, and the perfect way to get your Sunday started. FA Cup football in a lower league ground. It's not really, doesn't look like a lower league ground, Derby. Pride Park, a real fortress at times, you got to say, for Derby. Leeds have struggled coming here before. They'll be hoping they can just get the job done and get back to Yorkshire with their name in the hat for tomorrow night's draw, as Ayo Tanaka gets us back and underway. Our first game of the day, a busy day in the FA Cup. Lots of action later on, but this is the one that whets the appetite for the day's action. And Derby, of course, white shirts, black shorts, white socks, and Leeds in their away strip, all blue with yellow trimmings for Leeds this afternoon. Here is Carl Darlow, early doors to Ampadu. Right to the left-hand side it comes to Jack Harrison, who will try and flick it in behind for Mecha to make a run, but the foul's going to go against Lucas Mecha. The referee said that he was too physical with his man to try and break in behind, and that's going to be a Derby free kick. As I said, a referee this afternoon, Anthony Taylor, very experienced Premier League referee. And the ball goes all the way back to Zetterstrom. Goes long for Derby. An attempt here as Bornau does well to just get it back to his goalkeeper and Darlow, but threatening was Severson. Long ball by Carl Darlow. Both sides just not trying to play about at the minute. That's nicely taken in by Willie Nonto. Down the left hand side comes Harrison. Lays it into Okafor, trying to break into the area, but nicely challenged and cleared away well by Langas. And Derby will know at times they will have to sit deep, they will have to step off leads and stay compact out of possession, but going to have to find that aggression when Leeds try and enter the 18-yard area to find that balance and deny Leeds an opportunity. A clean strike at goal. Right, striking that balance this afternoon. Here's Okafor. So all the way back to his captain Ethan Ampadu, who started centre back today. He's in midfield the last few weeks for Leeds, but drops back in there. That's a nice play by Okafor. Wide, Harrison trying the cross, blocked. And behind for the corner. It was blocked by Ward out in that right hand side for Derby. And the first set piece of the game for Leeds comes in name of a corner. And the Leeds fans certainly making their voices heard inside Pride Park to that corner where Tanaka will take. Right-footed delivery. Scrambled away from a Derby player, and there was two Leeds players at the front post, but Derby man got it clear. I think that might have been Ward actually that got that clear. Right for the Leeds throw. Gruyev. And Nonto all the way back to Ampadu. Here's Harrison. Controlling the early possession Leeds as you would expect. Not going anywhere really with it. Being patient with their possession so far. Derby trying to apply a little bit of a press here. Leeds seemingly popping it around comfortably. Harrison. Mecha. Back to Harrison, who takes it in his stride and flicked in behind, looking for the run of Peru. Nicely dealt with, and I think the flag was up anyway against the Leeds number 10. Well, Derby have lost 6 of the last 8 matches against Leeds in all competitions. 1 win and 1 draw in that run, but they've lost the last 3 against the Whites in a row. Their last meeting was in the Championship, and Leeds beat Derby here 1-0 in December of 2024 on their run to the title. Derby haven't scored against Leeds at home since July of 2020. It's been a long while coming. Free kick here for Derby. It's their referee's making sure it's in the right spot. Craig Forsyth over it. Goes short down the left hand side to Taylor. Trying to work inside, but Willie Nonto's tracked him all the way as it's come back to Forsyth and flicked out wide here. As Travis tried to get on the end of it, but Okafor tracking back. Oh, he's giving it away. Into the area comes Taylor trying to find the cross. Well, blocked behind for the corner. Yeah, Blackett Taylor there. See it here. Okafor just tries to get rid, but he makes a blind pass forward. Ends up being picked up by Blackett Taylor, who does really well to break into the area. As he gets to the byline, tries to cut it back with a cross. Blocked behind for the corner. Derby's first corner of the game. Ward to deliver, right-footed. Bouncing off ahead in there, and Leeds can scramble it away. Mecha on the chase there and forcing it back to Zetterstrom, the Derby goalkeeper. 6 minutes gone, and both sides have had a go so far, but the goalkeeper really tested to this point. As that was a little sloppy there from Jacobiol, but in the end, centre forward can't make anything of it. In Lars Jørgen Salvesen, the Norwegian. He scored 2 goals and 2 assists in his 19 Championship appearances this season for Derby. Hasn't scored though for the club since the 25th of November. And a 2-1 win away at Swansea. Be hoping he can change that this afternoon against Leeds. Is out. Tanaka gives away a free kick here, and he might have hurt himself even more than he did the opponent, Ben Burton Diaz. He might have caught his right hand there, Tanaka. Some challenge. A free kick to Derby. Forsyth to take the free kick again. Whipped towards the area. Up and away. Bornau fixes his hair, and after that clearance, here's Bobby Clark. Up against Gruyev. Isolated out there. Clark trying to find his man, and just couldn't get that, Derby, and it's gone out for a Leeds throw. I think that was Oscar there that was trying to link up with Bobby Clark, and Clark did well trying to find his man, and ultimately Leeds had too many bodies around it. Goes out for a Leeds throw. Tanaka sends long, one for Nonto to chase. In a foot race with the defender. He's picked it up here, Nonto. He's got options on if he can find one. Tries to thread it through for Mecha as it drops, in the shots for Noah Okafor is well over the bar. Yeah, it was good play. Tanaka with a long ball over the back of the Derby defence, and defender doesn't know whether to come or step off. He lets Willie Nonto pick up the ball in space and tried to thread it through for Lucas Mecha making the run. Well covered over by the defender Joe Ward, and in the end it drops back to Noah Okafor on the edge of the area and couldn't keep a shot down. Again, that can be the threat that Derby need to be aware of if they do push forward, or even on a set piece. They push too many forward. Leeds have got incredible pace to get in behind. Nonto will be the real outlet for that pace. Ampadu firing forward. Tanaka getting in to the mix in the challenge. Okafor a little bit caught there. Free kick to Leeds. It's Lucas Mecha actually that was brought down, and Bath with the challenge. Yeah, Mecha just trying to, did have any idea that the Derby defender was coming to tackle him, and does win the free kick. Completely blindsided the Leeds centre forward there. Ball down the right hand side for Bornau. Trying to go deep with the cross, but that one will be easily picked up by Zetterstrom under no concern whatsoever. Well, 10 minutes gone. Means not had much goal mouth action so far, just the one shot in the game. That was Noah Okafor's effort just a few seconds ago. It's the only registered shot of the game. Both sides just trying to wrestle for possession and territory at the minute. Oh, that's a cheap giveaway there by Forsyth. Mecha trying to work in behind his man in Bath. Tries to get the cross, which deflects off the Derby defender and behind for a Leeds corner, but they'll take that, Derby, after what was a dangerous giveaway by Forsyth in his own half. Just passes the ball right back to Lucas Mecha. Well covered over by Bath, who doesn't let Mecha anywhere near the area. Behind for a corner, which Jack Harrison will take. Harrison left-footed, flicked on and cleared away by a Derby head. Gruyev, Nonto, back to Ilya Gruyev. Down the line to Harrison. Trying to work an angle to whip the cross in, and the cross was lifted into the area, but Zetterstrom was there. Ooh, heavy there from Harrison in his own half here. He's giving it away cheaply. It's work to Blackett Taylor. Skips past Nonto. Taylor's cross, and away by Ilya Gruyev to find Willie Nonto down the right hand side. Piru. Nice close control, finds Nonto. And now Io Tanaka in space. Now Ampadu. Leeds find a little bit of a gap down the left-hand side here. Harrison. Got Okafor ahead of him. Tiptoes towards the area. Harrison's cross is far too deep. And should be dealt with here by Derby. And it is. Nicely taken in by Blackett Taylor in a foot race with Bornau, but Bornau does well. And retrieves it well. Yeah, certainly trying their best at the minute, Derby, to get in behind Leeds. Seems like Blackett Taylor seems to be the outlet. Try and break down that left hand side and get them forward. Here's Bornau again for Leeds. Back to Bijol and now Gruyev. Just trying to keep passing the ball around. Leeds 66% of the ball so far. Ampadu. Harrison lays it off now to Piru, who gets the free kick. Just pulled back there. Yeah, 2/3 of the possession for Leeds, as I say, as we would expect them to have. That's nice from Nonto between the lines. Finds Harrison. Harrison going for the cross again. Dealt with in there again by Derby. Langas again. Just putting crosses to hit an area rather than to find a man at the minute there, Harrison. And now Blackett Taylor's got a bit of a space here. Down the left channel. Trying to get a shot at goal. Comes off Bornau, behind for the corner. Yeah, he is the danger man for Derby. Again, it's just that little gap that opens up in the middle. Ball's played to Blackett Taylor, who in that left channel tries to find a way around the Leeds defender Bornau, but shot from Blackett Taylor deflects off the Leeds defender and behind for the Derby corner. Lower league teams, albeit it's only Championship to Premier League, but a division lower. Set pieces could be crucial in this one. Joe Ward with the corner. It's deep, and it's too deep. Gone all the way through and out the other end for a goal kick. A little bit less pace on that, and it could have been a decent effort, but in the end just wasn't accurate enough. This ball directly out to Harrison, and Ampadu all the way back to Darlow, who will pump it long, giving it away cheaply there, that long ball. 15 minutes gone, goalless here at Pride Park. Derby 0, Leeds 0. Most action's probably been from corners in the first 15 minutes. Both have had one shot apiece, but as I said, nothing to really test either goalkeeper. Both have struggled in that sense so far. And I say, with Leeds, with their possession, they have struggled to test the Derby defenders enough and get them into awkward positions, but a long way to go. Piru's flick on, finding Mecha, but it's cleared away by the Derby man in Bath. And Tanaka gets beaten around, and now there's a little bit of space flicked into the area. Bertrand Diaz couldn't quite catch it right, just looped it. And Carl Darlow had it all under control, but that might open the space here for Piru on the breakaway. Not really, as he was held, and that's going to be a free kick. Actually, he's given the throw in, the referee. looked like he'd signal for a free kick, but was given the throw, and he was held there, Joel Peru, but referee didn't feel it was enough contact. Nonto looking for the deep run of Mecha, who into the box gets a touch of the ball, and it's gone the way of Derby. He had the last touch there, Lucas Mecha. Yeah, nice ball by Nonto. Good deep run by Mecha, but it did come off the Leeds man last. And Lewis Travis with a really good step in to make the tackle. The Derby captain, Lewis Travis, 28 years old. Joined the club in the summer. And he captains them today. A huge game. There's a couple of bodies gone down there in Leeds colours. It was Gruyev first, then Tanaka. In the wars in the middle at the minute, the two Leeds midfielders. And it's going to be the first yellow card of the game. It's going to be shown to Oscar. Yeah, Oscar with the first one and then with the second one as well. Referee handing out the first yellow card of the day. Ao Tanaka to take this free kick for Leeds from deep. Up and away, dealt with by Derby with everybody back. Harrison will go again. That's a deep cross, and again towards Mecha, but just a yard or two away from him in the end. Goal kick. They've definitely tried to work it into the area with crosses, Leeds, and early crosses, you got to say, but not really successful so far. Not really find the target as they would have wanted to. As I was saying about Derby County, mid-table in the Championship, and mid-table in the Championship really could mean you could be in the playoffs in a few weeks' time. It's that tight. It probably could be the same in the Premier League this season. It's that closely fought between the mid-table teams in the Premier League, but Derby, 9 wins, 8 draws, 9 defeats. So they're basically as average as they can be in the table this season after 26 games. As Ilya Gruyev and Ao Tanaka penalised. Getting a bit too physical on Bobby Clark. Travis with a throw in. Nice play by Clark. Skips past Tanaka. Steps inside, and then Tanaka just shoves him to the ground into Ilya Gruyev. And a free kick for Derby. Now this is a set piece in a decent area here for the home team. Joe Ward and Craig Forsyth are over it. It's Forsyth, and the header at the back post is off target from Bath. Yeah, again just scoops it round the back post from Forsyth, and good strong header by Bath, but just not on target. Really, from that sort of area, has to head it back across goal rather than head it directly in front of him. That's what takes it off target. The real strange stretch there. 20 minutes gone, and I think Derby would be quite happy with the way this game's gone so far. They're certainly in the game physically. They're keeping Leeds at bay at the other end and able to maybe get 1 or 2 little outlets themselves on the breakaway. It's really exactly the way John Eustace would wanted it to have gone by this point. And of course, the key factor is that there's been no goals. Remains goalless. Switch ball by Forsyth. Taken in nicely by Ward. Gets past Harrison. Now to Ben Burton Diaz. Back to Langus. Ward, who was challenged there, but it's gone out for a Derby throw. Of a Leeds player. Thrown back to Langus. Bath gives it back to Zetterström. Switch ball out to the right hand side, and Joe Ward there doing well to commit the defender, and Jack Harrison stepping deeper to put it out for the throw in. Well, Leeds have progressed from each of their last 4 FA Cup ties against Derby. Knocked them out in the 67-68 season, 72-73 season, 74-75 season, and the 95-96 campaign. The only team they've won 5 consecutive ties against in the competition are Wolves between 1935-36 and 1981-82. It would be 5 consecutive FA Cup wins against Derby if they were to win this afternoon, Leeds. Nicely won in the midfield there by Leeds, and they've got a little bit of space here for Lucas Mecha, who slips, and that breaks that chance apart completely. And there's a nice ball in behind here for Bobby Clark. Into the area, lays it out wide to Blackett Taylor, trying to find a shooting chance, and he did get that shot off, but easily grabbed by Carl Darlow. Again, great ball to find Bobby Clark. You have to say, in terms of an attacking sense, Derby haven't really found Clark enough. First 23 minutes, he's going to be key to them trying to find a goal. That's nice play in behind here to Mecha. Dragon Bath out with him. Mecha trying to flick it into the area, away by Langas. Headed back by Gruyev, and Harrison takes it under control. Plays it back to his captain and Ethan Ampadu. That's better from Leeds, but Derby, again, keeping them at bay around the 18-yard area. Not giving them a chance inside the Derby County box at the minute. Five touches in the opposition box for Leeds to Derby 6 so far. So Derby making it as tough as they can for their opponents to find a way into that 18-yard area. Actually having more joy up the other end themselves. Of the home team. It's Tanaka. Back to Ampadu, who wants to lay it off to Harrison. Here is Jack Harrison down the left. Rolls it out wide. Fed back into Mecha, who's dropped a little deeper. Dribbling back, and he has the shot just over the crossbar from the edge of the box. Yeah, nice little close control, a bit of footwork there from Lucas Mecha. Just drags it back, creates that space and that opening to have the shot. And then he just leaning back, hooks it over the crossbar. And Derby have been eliminated in 3 of the last 4 FA Cup third round ties. That's as many as in their previous 16 third round ties combined. So on a bit of a poor run of form in the FA Cup as of recent, Derby. Hoping that a big win against a Premier League team could turn that form around this season and go on a little bit of a cup run. Ethan Ampadu for the switch ball, and that's a little bit sloppy. An unnecessary ball that would have been difficult for Bornau to take down even if it did stay in play. It's gone out for a Derby throw. That's what Derby need as well. Get Leeds off their rhythm, out of sync with each other. Playing sloppy passes, making unnecessary mistakes. Get them off kilter. Joe Ward, ball in behind. Run towards Selvison as Darlow committed himself out there, but he did well. Okafor helping out to win the throw-in off Oscar Fraulo. I'd say John Eustace's team have more than kept themselves in it so far. They've made it competitive in the first 27 minutes. Not giving away an early goal, not giving away a silly foul or giving anything cheap to Leeds. They've made them work for whatever they've had so far, and that's been very little. As that was a little bit cheap from Lewis Travis, though. Gives away a foul on Willie Nunto. He'd nowhere to go, he'd no options, and just an unnecessary challenge, really. That is a free kick to Leeds. There's Travis. Certainly leaving one in there on Nunto. Jack Harrison from this free kick then. On the right hand side, a good distance out. Fizz towards the box, to that back post, flicked on. And well responded by Forsyth to clear it away. Gruyev trying to get it back towards that Derby box, but drops outside the box, and Okafor got a little bit quiet. They wanted a handball there, the Leeds fans, but referee said play on, and Leeds do have possession anyway, but we're calling for a handball. I think it was a little bit hopeful at best there. Definitely hopeful at best from Leeds fans. I mean, if you don't fight for it, you don't win it, really. It's the simple fact of it. You don't try and win it. The referee's not going to give you something you don't call for. Anthony Taylor getting a little bit antsy. That's Willie Nunto, and laying down the ground rules like a good head teacher. Sometimes I think the referee's gone a bit of a power trip. I mean, there's no way outside of football Anthony Taylor would talk to anybody like that. This gets a bit... I mean, relax. It's a FA Cup. Here is Ayo Tanaka. Grip ball in behind. Mecha! Well tackled, and the shot from the rebound. I think it might have come off the post there from Joel Peru. That happened in a flash. Ayo Tanaka, first real time we've actually seen him break forward for Leeds in a midfield position. He plays a lovely ball into Mecha, guided into the space, and then as he was well challenged, following in on the rebound was Joel Peru to smash it off that left post and directed wide. But that's a big chance for Leeds, their first real clear shot at goal, and it's hit the woodwork off Joel Peru. As they say, Ayo Tanaka, the first real time we've seen him progress a little further forward for Leeds in that midfield position, and if Leeds are to win this game, they need to get him a little bit further forward. Use Gruyev as that deeper midfielder, and use Tanaka with his passing ability to try and carve a way through this Derby team. And here comes Noah Okafor for Leeds. 3 in the box. Okafor wants to go himself. Good save by Zetterstrom. As Tanaka wins it back. Leeds smelling blood at the minute. Bornau. Now Nunto whips it across. And hooked and cleared away. Nunto works it back in instantly. Bornau. Gruyev shoots. And didn't have the pace behind it. Zetterstrom gathered comfortably, but that's a good spell of possession. A good pressure from Leeds on the Derby defence, but Derby bend but don't break. Here's Ward. Back to Langas, who finds it through to Ben Burton Diaz, but intercepted by Tanaka, and now Leeds are on the brick again. Here's Peru. Feeds it in behind. Mecha rounds. The goalkeeper goes down. It's a penalty to Leeds United. Mecha rounded the goalkeeper. The keeper left one in on him. Took him down. Penalty to Leeds. And you got to say that uptick in tempo, that real sharpness from Lucas Mecha. Skips away from his man, but again it's Tanaka. Plays that straight ball through. Gets Leeds on the move. Mecha linking up with Peru. Peru guiding that ball in behind. Mecha runs across the back of the Derby defence, times his run to perfection, tips it away and lets the goalkeeper tackle him. You see it here. Yeah, he leaves his foot in, Mecha, but I mean the goalkeeper's come flying out. Doesn't get any of the ball and catches the man. Can't really argue. Anthony Taylor was certain in his decision. Penalty to Leeds. Well, this is where Zetterstrom can try and make up for that mistake. He's got the chance to deny Leeds. Albeit it's the penalty he gave, and he gave away, but chance to make up for it and deny Joel Peru from the spot. Leeds have pushed forward in the last few minutes. Can they take advantage? Peru! Saved by Zetterstrom! And they keep it in the box, Leeds, but Okafor beaten off it. I said he could make up for the mistake, and he has. The Derby goalkeeper denying Joel Peru from the spot. Dived the right way and made a really strong save down to his right hand side. And that's what you like to see. All sort of drama. The game's really opened up in the last few minutes. That increase in tempo. It's Leeds just trying to go to another gear. Here's Mecha. Now Nonto. Nonto trying to work it into the area. Tiptoes at the edge. Back to Tanaka. Now Nonto. Nowhere to go. Well challenged by Blackett Taylor out for the Leeds throw. Well, Zetterstrom giveth. Zetterstrom taketh away. Was he off his line there? It's a good save though. No matter what happens. That's got the home crowd back up. After what they felt they were under real pressure the last few minutes. And Ethan Ampadu is going to take this through a long throw for Leeds. Deep. Bornau's header is looped up and into the hands of Jakob Vidal Zetterstrom, to give him his full name. They've really, in the last few minutes, Leeds started to turn the screw in the build-up to that penalty. You feel like that penalty's a sliding doors moment that Leeds can't take the lead, they can't take that advantage, and could they be on the back foot now? Here's a ball in behind. It's Blackett Taylor. Stayed on side. He's got Bornau for company. Blackett Taylor steps inside. Bundles down. Wanted a penalty. The follow-up is in. And it's a chance and a goal for Derby County. Ben Brereton Diaz. And Derby take the lead. Leeds had the chance from the penalty spot. Denied by Zetterstrom. And I said it could be a sliding doors moment. The momentum could swing the other way. And well, it has. Ben Brereton Diaz haunting Leeds again. And gives Derby County the lead. Again, a scrappy moment from Leeds defensively. But Brereton Diaz there to find the loose ball and to find the back corner of the net. See it here. Not the best of headers from Bornau, but great adjustment from Forsyth to find Blackett Taylor in behind. Blackett Taylor, I thought he was going to have the chance. He stepped inside Bornau, challenged by Nonto, goes down wanting a penalty, right back to his feet. And in comes Ben Brereton Diaz, the first to react and sweep it past Carl Darlow in the Leeds goal. It was Bornau's ball that actually fed it into the path of Brereton Diaz again. And he set it up nicely and tucked it in that far corner. It's curling away from Darlow. He did get some touch to it, but spinning away from the Leeds goalkeeper, who could only watch it find the back of his net. Derby 1, Leeds 0. And that is a complete momentum swing from Leeds, having the chance from the penalty spot to take the advantage, They now find themselves behind, trying to chase back into this game. Here's Lucas Mecha. Back to Tanaka. Sprays it across, finds Gruyev. Finds Harrison. Leeds want to respond quickly. Harrison's ball deflects into the path of Nonto. Keep it alive. Cuts it back to Tanaka. He will have a go, and it just zips just wide. Not too far away from Ao Tanaka there. Just wide of that right hand post. Goal kick. Daniel Farker watches on as his team move up until that goal moment. They dominated the game as you would expect. They had the chance to take the lead. They just couldn't grasp it. Peru's effort from the penalty spot was well saved by Zetterstrom, and in the end Derby come right up the other end and score within, I think, about a minute or so afterwards, a minute or two afterwards. Yeah, Peru's penalty was saved in the 33rd minute. Bren Burton Diaz put into the back of the Leeds net in the 35th minute. A clear momentum swing in the game that gives the championship side clear advantage in this one now, and Leeds with their backs against the wall early doors here. 7 minutes or so of the first half. Derby would be desperate to have a 1-goal lead going into half time. Oh, Ampadu just about got that through to Gruyev, but Tanaka's lost it under pressure. Harrison to scoop it away, and that's Langus, who couldn't make advantage of that space down the right to Ward. Goes out of play for a Leeds throw. Harrison. Back to Ampadu now. Darlow. Goes to Jacobillo. Trying to find Mecha. Nicely picked up by Piru a little deeper. Now Nonto lays it off to Ao Tanaka. There is space here for Leeds to exploit. Finds Harrison. Harrison driving towards the box. Trying to find a shooting chance. He had to spin it back out wide. Ball fizzed across the area. Nonto was in there. Piru too. Neither could get a clean touch on it. But it's cleared away for Derby only as far as Tanaka. Ampadu. Harrison. He's going to try and find that leveller before the break. Ball whipped in, and the flick on from Bornau was wide. One of the Leeds centre-backs getting into the mix there. In Sebastian Bornau. Yeah, great ball in, whipped in by Noah Okafor, and Bornau picking up a good space in the mix. I don't think he gets much, if any, contact on it actually, but he was in the right place at the right time. He just couldn't make the finish. "40 minutes gone. Derby County 1, Leeds United 0. The third round of the FA Cup. It's what has been a crazy weekend filled with cup upsets, and probably the biggest in the competition's history this weekend. Could this afternoon of action start with another upset? Albeit nowhere near the level of yesterday's. But an upset nonetheless if Leeds were to lose here to Derby. Mid-table in the Championship against the Premier League opponent. Oh, as that long throw from Derby finds its way to Carl Darlow eventually, but not without one or two awkward headers. I'm sure Daniel Farker, if it does remain 1-0 at half time, he will tell his team not to panic, not to overthink things, just keep playing their game, and Got a real good strong. Oh, that's poor from Joel Peru. Should have play against Okafor, but I think just to be patient, Leeds play their game. They've had a real good spell of pressure before that penalty. And that's what will get them back into the game. Patience, playing their game, and just not forcing the issue too much. Let the ball come to them. Here's Tanaka, finding the space for Nonto. Nonto going for a shot. Straight into the hands of Zetterstrom after a punch there, and took all the pace off at the Derby goalkeeper. Nice header by Forsyth, but closed up by Bijol, and he's going to get the free kick as he was brought down. Jaka Bijol. Here's Harrison. Down the left-hand side comes Okafor, charging at Ward. Okafor takes on his man. Chops back inside, finding Peru in the area. He's trying to have a shot. Well saved by Zetterstrom. Okafor saved by Zetterstrom. But Okafor's offside on the rebound. Well, he is going to have one hell of a day if he's going to get Derby to winning this. He's made some big saves already, of course, from the penalty, but a big save there against Peru, and then the follow-up from Okafor. He didn't know was offside, but it's another good save. Peru's shot actually takes a deflection off. I think that was Fraulo, Oscar Fraulo. To make it even more like a proper FA Cup tie battle. The rain's coming down, so that's going to make it even more of an intriguing contest come the second half. Tanaka to Nonto. Takes his man on. Feeds it in behind. Bernal on the run here. Clips it across. Too close to Zetterstrom, who was very calm and composed. And he's got Derby trying to get them on the front foot here. Here's Bobby Clark. Last minute of the first half. Derby leading by a goal to nil. Long clearance to Burton Diaz. He felt he was held. The referee said no. So here's Tanaka. Now Gruyev. Find it through to Peru. Now Tanaka. Nice play here from Leeds. Mecha. Nonto. In behind is Tanaka. Nonto's ball just a little bit ahead of the Leeds midfielder. And now Tanaka making that run in behind the Japanese international. He just couldn't quite get on the end of that pass from Willie Nonto, and that would have been a really good Leeds move. So we see the penalty again, and found his corner. Joel Peru committed to that side, and a great save by Zetterstrom to deny him. And then we see the Derby goal. Zetterstrom with the save at one end, and Burton Diaz with a strike at the other. Derby lead by a goal to nil. As we will have one additional minute at the end of the first half, which we're already halfway through. Derby looking to just settle and take that one goal lead into the break, which could really... Oh, Blackett Taylor felt it was held. The referee said no again and said it wasn't enough. Gone out for a Leeds throw, but I think this will be the end of the half here no matter what happens. He was held there, Blackett Taylor. A bear hugging him was borne out. At half time it is then, the whistle just gone, and it is the Championship side that have the half-time lead in this one. Leeds had the penalty chance to take the lead through Joel Peru, saved by Zetterstrom, and within 2 minutes Derby were in front when Ben Brereton Diaz latched onto a loose ball in the Leeds box. Half-time in the FA Cup third round to kick off Sunday's action. It's Derby 1, Leeds 0 at the break.
Sure, one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal. Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me. That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible.
Welcome back to FA Cup Third Round Live here on LFS this Sunday afternoon. Half-time, it's Derby County 1, Leeds United 0 in this one to start the Sunday. Derby taking the lead after, Ben Burton Diaz took the strike, but it came after Leeds missing a penalty. Tedestrom with the big save from Joel Pirou's effort, and that could have given Leeds the advantage. Within 2 minutes, Derby were in front, Ben Burton Diaz up the other end. So that is the storyline here. A busy Sunday afternoon. Shut off that music. Busy Sunday afternoon. Portsmouth taking on Arsenal at 2 o'clock, and the rest of the fixtures there. It all concludes tomorrow night as we watch Liverpool take on Barnsley. But before that, tomorrow night from around about 6:45, it will be the fourth round draw to decide who will play who in round 4, and then that will be followed by Liverpool taking on Barnsley at a 7:45 kickoff tomorrow at Anfield. Looking forward to that one. But already this weekend, let's have a look at the results. Starting on Friday night, 4 games on Friday night. It started with that absolute cracker at the Stoke Ras. We'll get to that in a second. MK Dons won, Oxford United won. It finished there, but penalties it was, and Oxford progressing on spot kicks. Port Vale just needed the 1 goal to get past Fleetwood Town. In their game, the League One side emerging victorious against the League Two opponents, but it was League One to beat Championship. At Deepdale, Preston beaten by a 1-0 by Wigan Athletic in that one. They thought they'd actually got a late equaliser, Preston, but it was disallowed, so it finished 1-0 to the visitors there. And a hatful of goals at the Stoke Ras as Wrexham faced Nottingham Forest, Championship v Premier League, and it was 3-1 to Wrexham at one point. 2 late goals from Nottingham Forest's Callum Hudson-Odoi got them back into the game, took them all the way to penalties, and Wrexham winning on penalties in the end by 4-3 in their favour, and ultimately it was a Conquo with the big save to deny Nottingham Forest and knock them out of the cup. Then yesterday afternoon, a jam-packed mid-afternoon. It started early when Cheltenham were beaten 2-0 by Leicester. Everton took Sunderland all the way to penalties. It was actually Sunderland who led that game right till the death, until Everton did got a penalty of their own that was converted by James Garner in the 89th minute. That took them all the way to penalties, and quite poetically, James Garner missed the first penalty. It was saved by the Sunderland goalkeeper. All 3 of Everton's penalties were saved. Sunderland scored all 3, and they are through to round 4. But the massive upset at Macclesfield yesterday, Macclesfield of the non-league National League North, beating Crystal Palace by 2-1. An incredible feat. The coat holders out for the first time against a non-league team since 1909. An incredible result. They were 2-0 up Macclesfield, and a late Palace consolation made it a little bit nervy, but they ended up progressing. I'll look at this. Wolves beating anybody at the minute looks exciting, but by 6-1. It was against League One Shrewsbury, but they did win nonetheless. The Jorgen Strand-Larsen hat-trick. He's only got 1 league goal in the season, but he's firing against League One opponents. Jorgen Strand-Larsen in the FA Cup. Jonah Arias, Rodrigo Gomez and Tolu Orokodare with the other goals to make it 6-1 for Wolves. Boreham Wood were thumped 5-0 by Burton in their game. A damaging defeat at home there for Boreham Wood. 2 goals in the first half, Lofthouse and an own goal from O'Connell, and in the second half Tavares, Williams and McKiernan made it 5. A good day at the office for Burton on their trips. Burnley put 5 past Millwall as the Premier League side saw off Championship high flyers at the minute. Millwall doing pretty well in the Championship, but Burnley, who's struggling in the Premier League, seemingly needing that outlet of the FA Cup to put some goals into the back of the opponent's net, and they got that 2-2 draw against United in the league in the week. Might have catapulted them to this. Ashley Barnes on the double, Chowna and Anthony with goals, as well as Banel with a late one, and a very late consolation from Josh Coburn to get one back for Millwall, but the damage was well done by that point. it was closer than it needed to be between Doncaster and Southampton, really. Southampton were 3-0 up in the game. Bragg, Archer and Matsuki had Southampton 3 up at the break. But goals from Pearson and Gibson made it a little bit tasty as Doncaster wanted to spring a comeback. In the end, they couldn't get that all-important third goal to level the game, and it finished Doncaster 2, Southampton 3. Well, Fulham on a good run of form as of recent, but they went 1-0 down at home against Championship Middlesbrough. Hayden Hackney with the goal to give Middlesbrough a half-time lead, but of course, who else but Harry Wilson for Fulham at the minute got them back on terms. Emile Smith-Rowe then made it 2-1 before Kevin, who set up the opening goal for Fulham, he scored the third to put it beyond reasonable doubt, and Fulham won by 3-1. It was close in the end at Portman Road between Ipswich and Blackpool. Ipswich took the lead through Jaden Philogene in the first half, and Greaves doubled the lead in 3 minutes to go, so gave them a little bit of breathing room before a late consolation penalty from Fletcher got Blackpool in the mix, but it was too little too late really for the visitors there. Well, one team that were really never in the game at any point was the team away from home at the Etihad, Exeter City, travelling to Man City. 10-1 it finished in that game. Unbelievable result, really. Man City had only scored 10 goals once in their history before yesterday's game. They scored 4 in the first half. Max Elaine, the young player who was on loan at Watford, came back, played a Premier League game, and played an FA Cup game and scored for City. Rodri with the second, 2 own goals for third and fourth. Rico Lewis with number 5. Antoine Semenyo opened his account for a goal and an assist in the game. He got the 6th. Rounders with the 7th. O'Reilly with the 8th. McAdoo with the 9th. It was 9-1 when Birch scored a really nice goal to make it 9-1, but Rico Lewis put double figures on the score sheet. 10-1 it finished. It was a cracker between Newcastle and Bournemouth in that all Premier League tie. It finished 3-3 after 120 minutes. A late Marcus Tavernier third goal in the 122nd minute took it all the way to penalties, and Newcastle progressed on penalty kicks after 9 taken apiece. Bournemouth unable to respond. 7-6 it finished on spot kicks. 3-3 in the game. Salford Swindon was postponed. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Brentford 2. The Premier League side seeing off Sheffield Wednesday quite comfortably in that one at Hillsborough. Keane Lewis Potter and Matthias Janssen with the goals to make it 2-0 in that one. And Stoke edging their way past Coventry in another all-championship tie. Cisse with the only goal of the game. And in the late games in yesterday's action, Bristol City swept past Watford by 5-1 at Ashton Gate. Goals from Jakobsen. Jakobsen with a hat-trick. Mehmeti and Atkinson with the 5 goals for Bristol City. Birmingham were 3-0 up away at Cambridge. It got it all the way back to 3-2 Cambridge, but again, too little too late. Waghorn, Kyogo and Dux with the 3 goals for Birmingham. And Kaikai with the 2 goals for Cambridge to get them back into it. 3-2 it finished to the visitors. 3-2 to the home side as Grimsby saw off Weston-super-Mare in their game. Aston Villa edged out Spurs by 2-1. Buendia and Rodgers with 2 first half goals. Otterbear to get Spurs back into it, but Villa hung on. And a comfortable victory in his first game in charge for Liam Roos Sr. at Chelsea. They were 1 up at the break. Jarell Hatto with the goal just before half time. Tosin made it 2. Leeburn got them back into it with Charlton to 2-1. Guiu made it 3-1. Neto 4-1. And Enzo Fernandez with a late penalty finished it off to make it 5-1 to Chelsea. What a jam-packed weekend so far it has been, and there is more to come already this weekend, with more games to come a little later for you as well. Actually, we should have team news from Portsmouth against Arsenal, and we will have team news of that one very shortly from Fratton Park. And I'll tell you what way Mikel Arteta wants to line out, but before that, the second half is underway now at Pride Park. Derby leading Leeds by 1-0 at the break. And hoping that they can pull off the upset Derby and have a rare third round progression in the FA Cup. It'll be the first time in a few years. We've lost 3 of the last 4, as I said. Third round cup ties. That's a nice challenge by Peary, but he gives it away cheaply again to the first Derby player in front of him. Here's Clark. Right to Taylor. Blackett Taylor steps inside on the right foot. Shot was a bit of a bobbly one. And all the way through to Carl Darlow. Well, Leeds did make a half-time substitute, by the way, as did Derby. James Justin came on for Sebastian Bornau for Leeds. And Ibu Adams is on for Oscar Fraulo, who made his debut today. Only lasted a half of football. And Ibu Adams is on for Derby County. So I would suggest Leeds might go to a back four, with Bornau more of a centre-back than a full-back, and James Justin more of a full-back than a centre-back. Corner to Leeds. Justin did well there down the right-hand side with his first action, so I think they've gone to a back four Leeds. They did change the system to a 3 today, which a little bit interesting. We'll try and figure out what way they will play this. Who will go to left back with Justin coming on at right back, but we'll show you that very shortly. Corner to Leeds then. Lots of bodies in the mix. Left-footed delivery all the way through and out the other end. Goal kick. Great ball by Harrison, but no one to try and meet it. Yeah, Beale was in there, and Ampadu as well, trying to throw himself at it, but no one could get to it. In the end, goal kick. Banjo says, sorry it's a bit late, bro, but happy new year to you and yours, and here's to many good streams in 2026, you legend. Thank you very much for the support. Great to have you with us. And a reminder, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. We will have many to stream in 2026, and we'll carry the FA Cup right the way through to the final in May. The Premier League, Champions League, Carabao Cup as well. We've got so much to bring you. So looking forward to it. Ooh, bit of a late challenge there by Craig Forsyth on Willie Nonto. It is a free kick to Leeds. I think he's lucky to not get away with it, to come away without a booking there. Craig Forsyth. It's a dangerous challenge. It's a high boot, really. I mean, he's very lucky to not get a booking there. And Willie Nonto feeling the pain of that one. He's back on his feet again, but certainly feeling the Craig Forsyth challenge. Here's Ayo Tanaka. Nonto. Justin. Tanaka sold a little short there, and he was isolated. And now Bobby Clark trying to roll it through for Blackett Taylor. Well cut out by Leeds defensively there. In that Beale, and here comes Justin breaking down the right side, trying to whip one into the area. Too high, too deep, too far away from any of his teammates. Goal throw in to Derby on the far side. They're trying, but so far not so good for Leeds. And of course, January used to be when teams got a little bit of a rest. They used to have a good week between games, and very few league games, very few games at all in January. Here's a shot from range, just off target by Peru. I think he took a deflection. Leeds back in the business in the Premier League in 6 days' time, and they host Fulham at Ellen Road before heading to Everton a week later. Derby back in action next Saturday as well. They head to Preston before a trip to Charlton as well 3 days after that. So quick turnaround for Derby and their championship challenge. Corner to Leeds, right hand side. Last one was a fizzed one. This one, of course, the near post. Finds its way back to Harrison, who didn't get himself back onside. Goal kick. Or free kick, sorry. Yeah, it's just a little bit wasteful there from Leeds. Had to go across the front post, and Derby had it covered. The longer this goes on, with Derby leading by a goal to nil, the more stubborn they'll get, the more they will try and fight Leeds for it. Trying to fight to keep them at bay. Here's Bobby Clark. Lovely little move between the lines. Finds Blackett-Taylor. Trying to squeeze his way through. Tanaka's there trying to hold him off, but Blackett-Taylor keeps the ball and feeds it back into midfield. Tibu Adams is challenged by Tanaka. Showed a little too much there to the Japanese midfielder, and now here's Harrison. Okafor nutmegs his man, and Joe Ward puts it out of play. And will be a Leeds throw, which Okafor a little bit peeved that he was being hounded there by Ben Burton Diaz. Free throw into Leeds nonetheless, and Okafor a little unhappy with that, a bit frustrated. He's tried to be that extra player up there. Noah Okafor coming off the wide area, trying to create chances from the wide options. Just really hasn't been able to link it up, but I could say that about any Leeds player really so far in this game. Just haven't been able to find that final ball, that final pass, that connection in the final third that's going to get them with a chance to equalise. And here's Ben Burton Diaz, who's already found the net once. Couldn't find the cross towards Selvison, and now picked up by Tanaka with space. Leeds on the move. Down the right hand side it comes to Justin. Can he add a little bit of an added angle? Justin! Had to shoot, blocked. Tanaka picks it back up. Okafor will hit. And Okafor hits a good 15 yards wide. Goal kick. It seems like when they do something right, Leeds, they try and one-up themselves and do something silly. It all falls apart. Oh, how long will Daniel Farker leave it before he does go to his bench to try and find that man just sitting behind him, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, or another attacking player, to really change the dynamic of this game, as Leeds are going to get a free kick here. Nonto went down, and then Peru did too, and well, I think it's a free kick to Leeds, but I think Nonto's complaining that he hasn't got a yellow card now. Forsyth again. The challenge earlier definitely merited a yellow card for Forsyth, but this one, I mean, it's just cynical. He drags Nonto back by his the collar of his shirt. I mean, that's surely a yellow card. Either the referee's related to Craig Forsyth, or he's just blind, because one of those should have been a yellow. And I'm not a Leeds supporter at any stretch of the imagination, but from a neutral's point of view, either one of those challenges could have been yellows. Probably both of them. Free kick though. Fizz deep. Up and away by Diaz. Justin tried to flick it back in, but again cleared away by Ward. Now battling around the edge of the area here. Here's James Justin. Ooh, a little bit deep there. Back to Gruyev. Tanaka, nice play here from Leeds. Here's Biol in an advanced position. Lets it run. Here's Willie Nonto! Absolutely rockets it in. Far corner, and Nonto levels it for Leeds. A rocketing effort sends the travelling Leeds support rapturous here at Pride Park. Daniel Farker a bit quiet on the bench there. He doesn't want to move. Maybe he's comfortable, and he doesn't celebrate. That's the response his team needed, and that's some strike by Willie Nonto. But again, it's here. Tanaka drags two players in, and they've got that extra man in Biol, who's further forward than he usually would be. He creates that extra man between the lines, rolls it through, Mecha leaves it, and Willie Nonto absolutely rockets this one past Zetterstrom and fires Leeds United back level, but great goal by Nonto. Absolute pile driver of an effort. 1-1. And I said how impactful Willie Nonto could be for Leeds United. And he's got that impactful goal to get them back on level terms inside 11 minutes of the second half. 1-1. And now Leeds with the momentum, finding that leveller. And now, I'm sure Daniel Farker hoping his side can just kick on from here and push to try and find the winner. But Burton Diaz threatening him behind, and comes off Ampadu, behind for a corner to Derby. Good response from the home team. Come on, Derby, is the chant from the home crowd. Can Derby respond as quickly to a Leeds goal and get back in front? That would be a real mood lifter. Joe Ward fizzing it, and the glancing header by Salveson was well wide. Goal kick. 1-1, just over a half an hour to go in this FA Cup tie. Leeds United with work to do if they want to just get the job done here and deal with business and head through to round 4, but Derby making themselves a little bit of a tricky customer at the moment against Leeds, and will not be easy to find a way past. Leeds have got the strength and depth off the bench if they need it. They feel they might not need it. Here's Nonto on the ball. Nice feed of the ball to Piru. In behind for Lucas Mecha. Sees off his man. He cuts it back. Noah Okafor cuts back the shots. Piru with the save now, and followed in by Tanaka. 2-1 to Leeds. Ayo Tanaka, key in the build-up to the opening goal for Leeds, and the leveller. And there to slot in the rebound from the save by Zetterstrom to give Leeds United the advantage. They've turned it on its head, and Premier League Leeds are in front now against Championship Derby. 2-1. Just seems like when they got into their rhythm, they were passing it around nicely. They've always got an option. See it here. Okafor cuts it back. Shot from Piru from range. Good strike. Good save. But they're, unfortunately for Zetterstrom, the save right into the path of Ayo Tanaka, who was in the right place at the right time and took a strike nicely. I mean, it was a tap-in, but they all count. And sometimes you just have to be in the right place at the right time. And that's exactly what Ayo Tanaka was there. Derby 1, Leeds 2. And maybe now a bit of daylight for Leeds. Could see them sail off into the sunset. And really make it a day that looked bright and shiny for Derby, to end in a way which he certainly didn't want it to. And that's going to trigger some movement from the Derby bench. Looks like we're going to see David Ozo and Ryan Brewster for Derby very shortly as we hit the hour mark. That's exactly the start to the second half that Daniel Farker was hoping for. Inside 15 minutes and Derby's lead eradicated and his team in front. That's the perfect start to the second period for Leeds. Derby won't go without a fight. Here's Joe Ward down the right hand side. Progressing the ball down that right flank, trying to get the cross in, blocked by Harrison, behind for the Derby corner. And not give up just yet. Just got a shot of Willie Nunto in the box. He's not going to win a header, surely. Joe Ward with the ball in. Cleared away at the near post by Mitch, was that? Behind for another corner. I mean, who is Willie Nunto going to be matched up against? Because he's 5'4" or something. Looks a bit of a struggle as they take the corner, but the referee wasn't ready. Says take it again. Joe Ward will have a third go at this. Hand in the air, right-footed delivery, and the header was well wide. Oh, and Bad has actually hurt himself here. It's hit his nose off something or someone, and he's in pain here at the minute. So with Derby now going to the bench, let's see what's going to make the difference here. So they already brought on Ibu Adams at half time. Well, Captain Lewis Travis is going to be coming off. He's coming off to be replaced by David Ozo. When he returned from injury, Lewis Travis, and got a good 60 minutes or so. These look like pre-planned subs, you would suspect, on the 60-minute mark. And Ryan Brewster coming on to replace Blackett Taylor, who's caused Leeds a number of problems today, but wasn't really in the end able to find himself on the score sheet. Corey Blackett Taylor, and he's replaced by Ryan Brewster. And I said that Daniel Bath had hurt his nose. Well, he's off the pitch at the minute receiving treatment for that issue. And now Derby down to 10, and Leeds trying to take advantage. Nunto ball across. It's hooked away, and that's gone behind for a corner. Zetterstrom certainly wanted to shield that and say that it was still in play, but that was never going to happen. Ryan Brewster with a clearance there. Well, a defender down at the minute, Derby. They won't have time to get Bath back on the pitch to defend this corner. So Leeds, the man advantage from this set piece. Jack Harrison will take. Left footed, cleared away at the near post, and it's a free kick anyway to Derby. Selvison with a free kick. Well, so far an update on the stats: 64% of the ball for Leeds to 36% for Derby. Leeds have had 4 big chances, 17 shots, and 8 of those 17 shots on target. For Derby, 1 big chance, 7 shots, and just 2 on target. In terms of goalkeeper saves, Zetterstrom has made 6 saves so far in the game. And a few of those, some big ones, of course, certainly no bigger than the penalty. He's had his work cut out today, but I said that Zetterstrom really needed to have one of his best games, if not his best game of his career. If Leeds were on form today, he was going to have to save absolutely everything. That he hasn't, but he's not done half a bad job. It's Tanaka. Fired it forward, but cleared away by Ozo. Here's Ward. Drives away from Okafor nicely. Ball in behind here, one for Selvison to chase, but Ethan Ampadu puts the afterburners on and gets back, plays it back to Carl Darlow. Here's Tanaka, the Leeds second scorer. To find Ilya Gruyev. Down the left channel finding Okafor now. Overlap was Harrison. Back to no Okafor. Gruyev, Ampadu, and Leeds just holding the ball for a minute. Keeping possession. Manage this game to a finish. I'll give Derby a chance, but Derby need to hang on in there, make sure they don't give away much more and keep themselves in the mix till the late stages. Harrison picks it up on the edge of the area. Finds Okafor. Okafor gets a side of goal, but blocked as he got the shot off and behind and out for a throw-in. Yeah, he got a glimpse of goal there, Okafor, and he took no second guessing and having the shot. Ryan Brewster gets back. His only contributions so far, Brewster, have been defensive contributions. That's certainly not what he was brought on the field for, but his manager will really appreciate it, of course. Needs must. Leeds certainly not confident in keeping a lead. They led 3 times at St James's Park during the week, and they ended up losing by 4-3. They were 1-0 up, 2-1 up, 3-2 up. Ended up losing the game 4-3. A late Bruno Guimaraes penalty levelled it before a 102nd minute goal from Harvey Barnes won it for Newcastle. An absolute classic at St James's Park on Wednesday night. But not a classic for Leeds, who should have had that game wrapped up more than once. But it ended their 7-game unbeaten streak. A streak that they want to get back onto and get back to winning games of football again and picking up good results. Of course, their objective this season is to stay in the Premier League, and got themselves 8 points clear of the drop zone as it stands. With all the respect to Derby, I think Leeds would be hoping this is the last time they'll see Derby for a while. That's going to be a free kick as a challenge by Ozo. Right there on James Justin. So a free kick to Leeds United. 21.5 minutes plus the additional time to go. Leeds with the 2-1 lead. And still work to do, but I feel that they can now see it to the finish line, but it's not over till it's over. If any competition personifies that, it's the FA Cup. Free kick delivered in, cleared away by the first man. And Joe Ward again, who's been everywhere for Derby today. In defence and in attack. Flipped over the top by Nonto. Guided across the box towards Metja, but again cleared away by Derby. And that wasn't the best of hold-up play from Bobby Clark, who's a little frustrated with himself there. Goes out for the throw. Well, we told you there is a big game at 2 o'clock. Arsenal heading to Portsmouth. Fratton Park. I'll tell you the team news for that when we get a little bit of a break in this game. Kick off at 2 o'clock. Number of games kicking off at 2:30, and then the big game of the day is an all-Premier League tie at Old Trafford. Man United against Brighton at 4:30. We'll be back, of course, tomorrow night. Liverpool taking on Barnsley. 7:45 after the draw as well tomorrow night. A draw which, as it stands, Leeds would be in at the moment. But it's just a narrow lead at the moment. Here's Peru. Holds it up to Ampadu, and now Gruyev back to Jakobiol. All the way back to Cardarlow. Looks like Derby might go to their bench again. They've got 2 players down there on the touchline to enter the fray. Here's a ball down the right hand side. Nonto will chase. He keeps it in play. Actually, it wasn't Nonto, it was James Justin. Did really well to keep it in play there. Back to Peru. Heavy touch, touches the referee. Peru's going to set it up for this shot. It's comfortably saved by Zetterstrom. Ao Tanaka picks it up on this right flank. Here is Nonto. Well challenged and seen off the ball. So let's have a look at these Derby changes before we tell you the team news from Fratton Park. Firstly, Leeds are going to make a change. Sean Longstaff's going to be coming on. He's going to replace Ilya Gruyev. So Gruyev for Longstaff. And Derby are going to make a double change as well. Bobby Clark's going to make way. Owen Eames on for him, and Selvison off, and Patrick Ajimang is on. So Eames and Ajimang on, replacing Clark and Selvison, and that makes up all 5 of Derby's changes. Needs their second change of the game. Still 3 more to make. Let's tell you about that team news from Fratton Park then. Start with Portsmouth. Bursick in goal, Devlin, Poole, Shaughnessy and Swanson in defence. Dazzle and Leroux in midfield. Chaplin in the 10. Harvey Blair off the right. Segacic off the left. And Colby Bishop leading the Portsmouth line. For Arsenal, Kepa starts in goal. White, Norgard, Gabriel and Lewis Skelly in defence. That's strange. And then Moreno, Eza and Waneri in midfield, with Madueke, Martinelli and Jesus in attack for Arsenal. So a number of changes, but the interesting one, Christian Norgard at centre-back for Arsenal. Very interesting. Not many defenders to go through. Here is Nonto for Leeds. Can't find a target. Cuts it back to Tanaka, who will spread it out to Harrison. Harrison whips it into the area and the header. Good save by Zetterstrom from Metch's header. Nonto. Tanaka. Across to Longstaff. Out wide to Harrison. He's on the move again. Harrison's deep cross is into the hands of Zetterstrom. That time. Great whip ball by Jack Harrison and a fantastic header by Lucas Metcha. Beautiful ball in. Metcha with a great header. Zetterstrom punches clear confidently. Leeds on the push for that 3rd goal. Give them a bit of daylight and some breathing room here at Pride Park, but as it stands it remains 2-1 and they're well in the fight here, Derby, if they can snatch a goal back. Here's a ball in behind. It's just too heavy from Eames. Bertrand Diaz was the target and Eames just couldn't. Just overhit it completely. If he'd fed that in, it was a great chance for Bertrand Diaz, but space was there. The option was on. The execution just wasn't crisp enough. Here's Harrison. Longstaff. Across to Yakabiol. Ethan Ampadu across to Sean Longstaff. Patient in their build-up, although a little too patient there was Okafor, but he wrestled for it back. Did win it back. Here's Tanaka. Plays it back to Ethan Ampadu again. Now Jacobiol, just short of 15 minutes to go. Derby 1, Leeds 2 here at Pride Park, and Leeds down the right here with Justin. Into Tanaka and now Longstaff. Well, Leeds have progressed. Hold on a second. No, Okafor cross. Cleared away. Danny Batt in there in the mix. Clearing out for the Leeds throw. Well, Leeds have progressed from each of their last 4 FA Cup ties against lower league opposition, having been eliminated in 7 of their previous 9 ties against lower league opponents before that. So they've shaken off that hoodoo they had against lower league teams, and looking like they're going to progress from 5 in a row against teams in a lower division than them in FA Cup ties. They're still in the balance. If Derby can snatch something late, this game could go either way. Leeds spraying it nicely. There was Tanaka finding Nonto. Nonto works it back to Tanaka, who's on that right hand flank again. Not much movement, and Derby sitting a lot deeper. There's a lot more bodies back there in white than there is in blue that he's just struggling to break down right now. At this minute in time, Justin back to Tanaka. Longstaff. Jacobi all out wide to Justin, who tries to change the angle. And the ball over the top was to no one in a blue shirt. Goal kick to Derby. Well, so far, the 3 contenders for player of the match, according to the public vote: Jakob Stedestrom, the Derby goalkeeper, Joel Piru, and Wilfred Nonto. How is Joel Piru a player of the match contender when he missed a penalty? Interesting. I'd say Tanaka would be up there, in my opinion. Tanaka and Nonto, I'd say, will be the 2 leading candidates, and Zetterstrom, of course, the goalkeeper for Derby. Albeit he gave away the penalty, but he made up for it by saving it. Now Derby with a free kick here on the left-hand side. Just over 12 minutes to go. Find themselves a goal behind and trying to push for that leveller. Leeds scramble the cross away. Can't get out of their own area though for the minute. Here's Ozo. Forsyth down the left. Trying to squeeze it into a space to find Eames, but Leeds were able to close that one off and trying to get their own possession as Nonto comes away with it, linking up with Tanaka. The home crowd felt there was a handball in there, but the referee again had good view of it, Anthony Taylor, and says play on. Harrison. Let's see. Foul on Lucas Meche, who was bundled over as he tried to shield the ball. And Badu across to Jacobiol, and he's looking for options ahead of him. He again had nobody on there and had to go back to his goalkeeper. Ball down the right hand side there, Biol, and wins a throw in. Hadn't got much on, and he decided to try and win the throw in, change the dynamic of the game, the situation, shall I say. Reminder for you that we've not just got FA Cup action this week coming. Carabao Cup semi-final action Tuesday and Wednesday night. Tuesday night we watch Newcastle take on City at St James's Park, and then on Wednesday night we're at Stamford Bridge as Chelsea take on Arsenal in the first legs of the Carabao Cup semi-finals on Tuesday and Wednesday night. Less than 10 minutes to go. Leeds narrowly in front by 2-1. Ben Burton Diaz opening the scoring for Derby in the first half before two quick succession goals at the start of the second half give Leeds the advantage. Wilfred Gnonto's rocketed effort, followed by Ao Tanaka's back post tap in, as Leeds 2-1 in front with now single-digit minutes on the clock for Derby to try and find that equalising goal to make it a less than comfortable final 10 to 15 minutes for Leeds in this one. If it did finish level, of course, remember extra time for if penalties are needed possibly to decide the winner. A winner will come from every one of these ties that is played. Unlike previous seasons, we would have replays. Replays have been scrapped. It's extra time and penalties to decide a winner, as is the traditional way. No, it would make it even better if we just went straight to a penalty shootout. But don't get me started on that, as that's nice from Justin. Wins a throw in under pressure. Lovely flick on here by Mecha, finding Gnonto in space. Gnonto trying to return the favour. Mecha's dragged a little wide. He's a lot of Derby bodies to find a way through. Blocked with his cross, but picked up nicely in the middle by Longstaff again to keep Leeds in possession. Longstaff. Gnonto all the way back to Ethan Ampadu. Well, coming into this game, Daniel Farker had a little bit of a problem against Derby manager John Eustace. He was winless, has been winless in each of his 4 matches against Derby's John Eustace. 1 draw and 3 defeats. They've come in the championship in all of those games between the 23-24 and the 24-25 campaigns. Although he did, however, beat him with 4-0 with Norwich against QPR back in April of 2019. Darlow swinging it out to that left-hand side for Harrison, and there's an acres of space in this area of the field, and he's striding forward here, Jack Harrison, unchallenged as he entered the box and couldn't find his ball to peer out. Derby hold it up well with Burton Diaz trying to find a run, and Adjumang in behind, but that'll just be collected by Carl Darlow on the edge of his 18-yard box and rolled out to Jacobiol. Just over 5 minutes to go. Leeds United 2-1 to the good. Looking like they're looking good for round 4. We've seen stranger things happen though in the FA Cup. And Leeds are going to make another change. Wilfred Gnonto's going to make way, the man who levelled the game for Leeds. He's going to be replaced by Sam Byram. Let's go to a more defensive sort of situation. Leeds bring an extra defender on just to manage the game to a finish. So Sam Barham replacing Willie Nonto, and it looks like he's going to get a full rest. Daniel Farker for Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Brendan Aronson, who've been crucial. Anton Stack as well in that midfield, who've been crucial for Leeds so far this season in the Premier League. Going to give them a full rest, it looks like. At the minute, no real need to bring them on. They're not chasing a goal, they're just trying to manage this game with the 2-1 lead. Here's Ayo Tanaka. On to Okafor. Whips it into the area. Cleared away by Langas. And Joe Ward trying to feed it down the right towards Adjamang, who does hold off his man. And Jakob Biol actually going to be penalised here for a pull on Adjamang. So free kick to Derby. Which the referee has given, and trying to make himself a nuisance there, the Derby substitute. Patrick Adjamang. Joe Ward to take this free kick. Long deep free kick, but too deep and right into the hands of Carl Darlow. Catch-in practice for the Leeds goalkeeper. Harrison pings one forward, looking for Mecha, but that was well cut out by Joe Ward. And I have to say, if any of the Derby players other than Burton Diaz, who of course scored the goal, deserves a round of applause today, it's Joe Ward, who's worked so tirelessly for Derby all the way throughout the game. He's picked up space any which area he can. Here he is again, Ward. Finding Burton Diaz. Back to Adams, who just gets shoved off the ball, but it wasn't a foul, said the referee, as Longstaff was taken out. That wasn't a foul either, as Eames tried to break through, and he went down under a challenge. It's going to be a goal kick to Leeds. Strong challenge by Sam Barham, but a fair one. You see it here, Eames charging away from Tanaka, and Sam Barham, he did get all ball. Good challenge. Well, I said he was going to, Daniel Farker was going to give a full rest to Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Brendan Aronson. Well, scrap that. Brendan Aronson's coming on for the final few minutes. It not really affect him. But Joel Peru, his race is run. He's had his afternoon, and Anton Stacks as well going to join us. So a double substitution late from Leeds, just to bring some fresh legs on for the final few minutes, just to get them over the finish line. Brendan Aronson and Anton Stack replacing Joel Peru, and it looked like not actually Noah Okafor, I think it was, it is also coming off for Leeds. It is. So Peru and Okafor off, Stack and Aronson on. Now Derby need to be more direct. They need to get the ball forward and get it into the box. Leeds are going to be in no hurry to let them have any sort of possession. Last minute of the 90, we'll see how long will be added on, and they need a little bit of luck, Derby, if they're going to try and upset Leeds right now. And, actually, they've given player of the match to Willie Nonto, which you can't make any complaints about that, to be honest. Here come Leeds. That's a challenge and a foul, and that's going to be a free kick. Was Anton Stack was the one that went down under the challenge from Ibu Adams, and free kick to Leeds it is. 4 added minutes then at the end of the 90. Leeds were, as I say, in no hurry to really do anything right now. Harrison is the one over this free kick, but they've only put 2 players in the box, Leeds. Something tells me they're not going to try and go to whip this one in. It would be a silly decision to try and cross it. Could be worth a shot from Jack Harrison, but from a manage the game point of view, it's just get it back into play and just keep possession. And that's the sensible idea. Goes short to Justin and Harrison. Back healing it, but that's a silly decision. And he's pulled his man down, takes one for the team. And the referee doesn't even blow his whistle, just pulls out the yellow card. And Jack Harrison in the book. One sensible decision followed by a really naive, stupid one. And he takes one for the team, really. Gives away that yellow free kick. Takes the yellow card. Now, 2.5 minutes to go. Derby launching the ball into the Leeds area. Bounces down. It's up and away by Stack. And Aronson trying to throw himself around it. Get onto it. Tanaka scrambles it clear. Aronson again trying to be physical. Derby just about get it back to Ward through Adams. Long clearance again by Zedestrom. Flicked on. Again, couldn't be held up in the higher end of the field by Langas. Derby throwing it around now, needing urgency and speed and wasting no time. Less than 2 minutes to go. You might just have one last chance at it. And that's a foul. They wanted a foul there, Derby, but they're caught a little loose here. Leeds are away, they could finish it. Here's Lucas Metcha. Got a pass on if he can find him. Whips it across. And there's the finish. And it's James Justin that puts the cap on the Leeds victory. When Derby were pushing, Leeds spring up the other end. And a great ball across by Lucas Metcha. Finding James Justin. He slots past Zedestrom and puts this game to bed. Leeds are going through. And Daniel Farker is now smiling and happy because he knows his team are going to get through this pretty tough FA Cup tie. It has been at times, but they've managed it really well in the second half after they went in front. And they wanted a foul there, Derby. It didn't really look like much. It looked like more of a collision than anything else. As they broke away, Metcha down that left-hand side, waiting for the right option to appear, and James Justin was that correct option. Swung it across the box, right on the penalty spot, and James Justin tucks it underneath Zedestrom and into the back of the Derby net. And Daniel Farker, who didn't celebrate either of the first two goals for Leeds, lets himself go a bit and celebrates that one. 3-1. Four minutes up, and the full-time whistle goes. John Eustace's Derby gave it a good go. They did lead Leeds by a 0-0 at the break. They were halfway to the upset, but Leeds come out in the second half with much more urgency in the final third. Wilfred Nunto's rocketed effort was a sign of what's to come. Second goal in quick succession when Ayo Tanaka was opportunistic at the back post to find a tap in to give Leeds the advantage before James Justin rounded it off in added time to give Leeds the 2-goal advantage and seal off what is job well done for the Premier League team. And it looked tricky at times. Zedestrom was having a good day. He needs to get an honourable mention. He did as best as he could to try and keep Leeds at bay, but when a Premier League team are on form and they show up like Leeds did in that second half, it's hard, even at the best of times, to try and find a way past them. And Leeds United were really impenetrable in that second half. And they're through to round 4. Derby out in the third round for the 4th time in 5 seasons. But But this one will be an acceptable defeat. They were in the battle for a long while, and they just couldn't get over the line. Final score in this one at Pride Park. It's finished Derby 1, Leeds United 3. And that rounds off our first game of the day in the FA Cup, or the first game of the day. That is our one and only at Watchalong of the afternoon. But lots of action in the FA Cup to come. 7 games still to be played. 2 o'clock kickoff between Portsmouth and Arsenal. 5 half-2 kickoffs. Blackburn's trip to Hull. Norwich taking on Walsall. Sheffield United hosting Mansfield. West Brom heading to Swansea. And a London derby at the London Stadium as West Ham take on QPR. And then 4:30, an all Premier League tie at Old Trafford as Man United host Brighton. Before we round off the third round of the FA Cup. Before the game, we will have the 4th round draw. That's tomorrow night at around 6:45. The draw will be done to see who will play who in the 16 ties in round 4. And that is followed by the final game of round 3 as Liverpool take on Barnsley at Anfield at a 7:45 kickoff. And as Daniel Farker celebrates with the pretty large travelling Leeds cohort at Pride Park, they're through to round 4 and they look and feel much more energised about what their objectives are this season. Maybe a cup run, but I'm sure that will be secondary to, of course, trying to stay in the Premier League, which Daniel Farker and his team have shown a lot more fight in the last few months or so, last month or two. And their recent results, just 1 defeat in 9 for Leeds, is the type of form they need if they're going to get themselves well out of that relegation conversation. So they're through to round 4. Lots of action still to come, but we'll be back tomorrow night to round it all off and to give you a full recap of round 3. It's been a great start to the day. A real good starting game of the afternoon, and certainly getting you ready for a couple of big games to come a little later on. Thanks for watching. It's been great to have your company, and we'll see you again tomorrow night to round off round 3. Bye-bye.